this goes along with what we say, like works with what we say, that Gazlan de Divrehen, somebody who's a Gazlan, but he's only a Gazlan midrabanan. He's not like a outright Gazlan. We'll see in a second what that means. Or no. This is what it means. Mesachik B'Kuvia is only Gazlan midrabanan. Did you tell them? What?
No.
So somebody who plays, bets. That's only Gazlan Darbanan. Gazlan Devrein Ksherin Le'edus Isha. That, I guess it was a known teaching. Rabashi says this Mishnah is where they get it from, that a Gazlan Devrein, a Gazlan Midrabanan, is kosher to say Edus on something that an Isha could say Edus on. Okay, next Mishnah. Misha Ra Es Chaydesh Ve'ena Yachol Lahalech. Somebody who sees the new moon, but he can't walk, he can't travel. So you put him on a donkey. Afilu b'mita, even if you have to bring him on a stretcher. The im tzayda lahem loichen biyadin maklos. And if you're worried about like people,
highwaymen.
What do you say?
Highway robbers.
Yeah, highway robbers. But really talking over here about the Baitusim, like we'll soon see in the next part, right here in the next Mishnah. The Baitusim used to try to do things to deter people or deter the system.
Can't send a shaliach, shlicha shalanam kamos.
If you have to say edus, I don't think you can send. You have to say edus. Yeah, you have to say testimony. So they went to these great lands. So you take sticks in your hands to beat them up, the people that block the way. The im haisa derech rechaika. If it's far away, like chen biyadin mezaynais, so they would take food. Sha'al mahalech laila v'yayim mechalin es haShabbos. If it takes a night and a day to travel, then you mechal Shabbos. The V'yotzin la'edus ha'chaydesh. One second. Im haisa derech v'chaydesh like him yadin v'zaynus. She'al mahalech laila v'yoyim mechalin es haShabbos. Right? You could be mechal Shabbos if you need to. V'yotzin la'edus ha'chaydesh. She'nemar elam mayadei Hashem asher tikru esem mayadam. We had this pasuk yesterday also. It tells us that you should announce Rosh Chodesh in the proper time, even if it's on Shabbos. You're allowed to be mechal Shabbos. What the Mishnah means to say here that you can be mechal Shabbos on laila v'yoyim. That's only if you're going to get there on Shabbos and you'll gain. But if you're not going to get, if the Eidim are not going to get there on Shabbos anyways, and they're not going to announce Rosh Chodesh till the next day, you don't gain anything, then you're not allowed to be Mechal Shabbos. Zok the Hadron Aloch Arba Rosh HaShana. Zok the Mishnah. Im Einan Makirin Isai. If the person that's going to say testimony on the new moon, this we'll see in a minute who we're talking about. If it's one person or two people, but seemingly right now we're talking about one person, aid. If he comes to say that he saw the new moon, but Bezdin doesn't know him, he's not a well-known guy. So if they don't recognize him, they send another person along with him to vouch for him, But that I guess somebody that Bezdin does know, like he comes along with his rabbi or something like that. In the beginning, they used to just accept testimony from anybody. But when the Baitusim messed up, they tried tricking the Chazal, like we'll see in the Gemara. So then they were masakein that only those who are known to Bezdin can say Eidos. Otherwise, you have to come along with a endorsement.
Even other Tzedukim, there's another group like this?
Baitusim are similar to Tzedukim, yeah.
They were the same.
Yeah. Same idea. Just a different time period, I guess, or no, it could be there were two Talmidim. Tzedukim come from. I think it's the same. Thing. Yeah. Okay. My acher. The Mishnah says another one has to go along. My acher. What does that mean? Acher. Chad. It seems to say we're talking in the singular, which would mean one other. So one person going to say testimony on the moon comes along with one person vouching for him. Do we believe one person? It's Eid Echad. He should need two to vouch for him. V'hatanya, we learned in a brisa, Ma'aseh shebahu ve'edav imay laheyed alav. We learned in a brisa, it says, Ma'aseh shebahu ve'edav imay. He came, a certain aid came to Bezdin on Shabbos to say Eidos on the Chaydesh. Ve'edav imay, which is plural. He came along with two Eidim. So it seems that you need two Eidim to vouch for you. Amar Papa, my acher, when it says another, doesn't mean another person. It means zug acher, another pair. Well, 1 second. So it's another pair, because the Mishnah says, the Gemara will prove it in a second.
So what did they need the 80 if it was a pair?
They didn't see the moon.
They're just testifying.
They're just telling Bezdin that the person that says he saw the moon is a good guy, and you could believe him. But we'll see in a minute, that's also two. My acher zugacher, hachinami mistavra, and it's really very logical to say it like that, because if you read the Mishnah, it says, if you don't say this, im einon makirin oisai, when it says in the Mishnah, if they don't recognize him, right? So we understand that to mean one person. My oisai, what's him? If you're going to just say that that it's one person, do we believe one person? Anyway, so we have to understand the Mishnah to be talking about the singular on the pair. It's that one pair of Eidim. So, because it says in the pasuk, mishpat ksiv bei, which you need two for mishpat. You need two Eidim. Elamai. So when the Mishnah says Oisai, referring to the person who's saying testimony on the moon, it's referring to Oisai Hazug, that pair. Hachanami. So too, my acher, the additional endorsement, the person who's coming to say that the guy that the aid is kosher, it's also going on the zug, on the pair. Okay. So now the Gemara says, "V'chad loy mehemen," is one really not believed? V'hatanya, we learned in a brisa, Ma'isa b'Rabbi Nahairoi. There's a story with Rabbi Nahairoi. He was obviously a trusted person. Anamayro. Shahalach eitzel ha'aid. Lahayid alav b'Shabbos b'Usha. He once traveled to Usha on Shabbos to go endorse, to vouch for the aid that was saying testimony on the moon. So it seems that there's one person here. It's just Rabbi Nahairoi, right? Amri. So we say Rabbi Nahairoi sada achrina havi bahadei v'hadalei chashiv lei mishum kvoidei shel Rabbi Nahairoi. Really, Rabbi Nahairoi had a second aid with him, so it was two aidim going to say that this guy, that the aid is kosher. But the reason why the story didn't mention the other aid is because when you're talking about Rabbi Nahairoi, he's very chashiv, so the other one is not even worthy of being mentioned. Or not, rather, I should really be more precise in the translation of the Gemara. Mishum kvaydai shel Rabbi Nahairoi, for respect to Rabbi Nahairoi, we didn't even mention the other person for covet for Rabbi Nahairoi. Rav Ashi says a different answer. Rabbi Nahairoi sahada achrina havi be'usha. Rabbi Nahairoi had another aid waiting for him in Usha, or he knew of another person that knows this aid in Usha, in the city of Usha. So he didn't have to travel. The story he's talking about, Rabbi Nahairoi traveled himself to Usha to endorse this aid. But there was already another person there that could vouch for that aid in Usha, so he didn't have to travel with him. So that's why he traveled alone, because he was going to meet up with the second aid there. So Rabbi Nahairoi was going to Usha to meet up with him, and that was going to be the two Eidim. If that's the case, so then what's the chiddush? It's a really simple case. Why would the Gemara? Why would there be a story recorded in the Gemara of Rabbi Nahairoi going to say Eidus on an aid, that he's a kosher aid? It's pretty straightforward. Like, there's nothing original about it. So the chiddush is that Rabbi Nahairoi traveled to Usha on Shabbos, even though it was only a suffix. He wasn't certain that he's going to find the other person that he was looking for to say Eidus with him. He wasn't sure if he's going to find him. Maybe he won't be home. Right? Maybe he went away for Shabbos. So even though it was only a suffix, that'll have a second aid to be able to say that the aid is kosher.
It was always a suffix. Maybe someone else came besides him.
And he won't even be needed. Yeah, there's a few sfeikus involved, I guess. Still, Rabbi Nahairoi traveled to Usha. That's the chiddush of the story. So I think Gemara BAYT. Ki asa Ula Omar, when Ula came, I guess it means he came to Bavel, right? When he came to Bavel. Ki asa Ula, when he came to Bavel, Omar Kidshua liyarcha b'marava. He announced that they already were Makadosh Levana. They already established Rosh Chodesh in Eretz Yisrael. Omar Rav Kahana says, not only Ula de Mehemen, not only Ula is believed because he's a Gavra Rabbah, he's a big person. In other words, he's well known. He's a chashiv. He's a rav. So that he's believed. Not only he's believed. Ela afilu inish de alma, even a regular person, nami mehemen. Even a regular one person is believed to say that they already were makadosh the Levana in Eretz Yisrael. My time, what's the reason? Because kol milsa de avida la agluye la meshakri ba inshi. Something which is going to be revealed if a person is not going to lie about something which everybody's going to know the truth either today or tomorrow or the next day. The truth is going to come out, so people don't lie about such a thing. Taninami hachi bo'echad changed it misayf ha'olam v'amar kidshu bezdin es ha'chodesh neman. We even have a brayso which says if a person came from the other side of the world, like a person came out of nowhere and told us that they were ready mekadosh the levana in Eretz Yisrael, we believe him. Okay.
Why aren't we worried that Kusim people like that are going to try to mess things up? Fine, they'll be revealed, but at least at that time they already messed things up for us.
Well, the Mishnah says we used to accept edus from everybody until the tzedukah or the BAYT.
Which could be revealed, so we don't have a chashash for. Because
no, that's not. They're not going to be revealed. Maybe the only people came to Bezdin to testify that the moon was chodesh that month.
What do you mean? It's going to be revealed because everybody's going to look and see the moon, and then everybody's going to see that when the full moon is, and that's the 15th of the month, so they're going to know that Rosh Chodesh was one day or the other. Eventually, everybody's going to know when Rosh Chodesh is. Well, besides, even if they can't tell on their own by looking at the moon, but their friends come from, people travel, and word gets out. They're going to find out the truth eventually. It's not like hidden. Bezdin announces it to the whole,
No, I have more of a problem if it's the first of the month, not the 15th. By the 15th, I know, but by that time be revealed.
Well, yeah, it's not going to be revealed today, maybe, but the next day or the next day, somebody's going to come from Eretz Yisrael.
Eventually, you're going to know he lied.
Huh?
Eventually, you're going to know he lied, or you're going to hear testimony. No,
I'm saying something like where you have to worry about the Rosh HaShana, Yom Kippur, whatever, something like that, right?
Yeah,
it just has to be established, otherwise you can be tricked. It's going to be by the time it's revealed.
Rav Ashi relies on this chazaka.
It's too late. That's what I'm saying.
Rav Ashi relies on this chazaka that a person doesn't lie for something that's going to be revealed. That's the chazaka. The Mishnah says in the beginning we used to accept testimony from everybody, from anybody, until the BAYT got involved. Tan Rabbanan, my kilkil kilkilu habaytusin. What did they do? Pamachas one time, bikshu baytusin lahadis chachamim. One time the BAYT wanted to trick the chachamim. Rashi explains that it's talking about a scenario where, they held that the carbon omer should be brought on a Sunday. Because it says mimacharas hashabbos. So Chazal tell us that it means from the day after Yom Tov, which could fall out on any day. But the BAYT, like the Tzedukim, they took the Torah B'Ksav literally and didn't listen to the Torah Shabbat Peh, and therefore they DAF wanted to come out to be on a Sunday. So they wanted somebody to go say Edus that they saw the moon on Shabbos, so that Rosh Chodesh should be Shabbos. Therefore, Pesach will come out Shabbos, and then Sunday will be the Omer. So they I guess they put out an ad. And they said, "Bikshu baytusim lahatis es chacham." They wanted to trick the chachamim, and they're going to pay whoever goes to save edus. So sachru shnei bnei adam. They hired two people, b'dalad mea zuz for 400 zuz. It was 200 each. Echad mishalanu ve'echad mishalahem. And it turned out that one of us and one of them took the job. I think Rashi said that one of us they didn't realize.
What was the first was a BAYT and the other was not.
Right. But had one of ours get involved, he got the job. Okay.
Business.
So shalahem heyed edusay. The what? What'd you say?
He infiltrated the BAYT.
Yeah, that's right. So the one of them, he said his testimony. I guess he got questioned and everything, and he passed. He came out. V'yatza, he came out. Shalanu. Then the one of us, the good guy, went in to say his testimony. Amrulai. They said to him, so. Amor Ketzad Ra'isa Salvana. Tell us, where did you see the moon? Tell us about it. Amar Lahem, he said to them, Oyla Hayisi b'Mala Adumim. I was going up Mala Adumim. V'Ra'isiv, it's a place right near Yerushalayim. V'Ra'isiv Shehu Ravutz Bein Beis Loim. I saw the moon. It was crouching between two stones, two rocks, whatever. Roshai Doimel Egel. Its head was that of a egel, a calf. Oznav Doimen Ligdi, and its ears were similar to that of a goat, a young goat. Karnov, its horns Doimes Tzvi, were that of a deer. Uznavai Munachas Leib ben Yaakov, and its tail was between its thighs. V'hitzatzi by v'nirtati v'nafalti la'chayri, and I was like stunned, and I was shocked by this sight, and I fell back. And if you don't believe me about this story, Harei Masayim Zuz Sruli B'Sadini. Here are the 200 zuz I have hidden in my coat, which I got for this. So basically, he was telling them code. He was telling them in code, basically, that he was hired by the Baitusim. So it seems like he was just saying a silly story from, like, he was painting this picture which couldn't have ever happened. But Rashi says to look at the Marsha, or I don't know, no, maybe it wasn't Rashi. No, it couldn't have been Rashi talking about the Marsha, obviously. But I saw somewhere that he said to look at the Marsha, look at the Marsha. I couldn't understand the whole thing what he was saying, but basically it's very deep. He was alluding to specific things with each, when he was comparing the moon to different things, based on what was going on at that time, the fight against the Chazal and the Baitusim and everything. But from his words, Bezdin was able to understand that he was exposing a trick of the Baitusim.
And also, he's an aide now in the Bezdin. He has to be very clear that he's lying.
Right.
Because
and he said, and he's to back it up. He says, "Look, I even got money for this. It's in my coat. It's in my cloak." Okay.
So these aren't astronomical.
Actually, sadin is like my pouch. Sorry. Yeah.
These are astronomical placements that he's alluding to, in terms of their understanding. Yes, this is where the moon was.
No, I think it was alluding more to something else. I don't know, but like it wasn't just like a silly spiel that he was saying. So Amrullah, they said to him, "Mi his kikcha." Like, who got you in? Why'd you do this? Who pushed you into this? Amar lahem shamati shebikshu Baitusim lahadis chachamim. I heard that the Baitusim want to trick the chachamim. Amarti, and I said to myself, Eilechani, I might as well go. And I'll tell them, I'll expose the plan, because Shema Yavayu b'nei Adam she'ena mehuganim, because otherwise somebody else might take the job, take the 200 zuz, and really trick the chachamim, v'yitu es chachamim, and trick the chachamim. Amrullah. So the Chazal said, the chachamim, the Bezdin said to him, Masayim zuz nesunim l'cha, nesunim lach b'matana, v'haseichech, the one who hired you, yimtach al ha'amud, will have to get bent over the amud, like in other words, over the knee.
No, it's
like to get
whipping post.
to get the whipping post. Right. But basically, Bezdin said, even though you didn't fulfill your shlichus, what you didn't do what you were hired for, you still can keep the money. Bezdin had the power of Bezdin Hefker. They were able to say that he can keep the money, even though he didn't do his job.
He really should keep the money. So he really did infiltrate the Baitusim.
Yeah, he even got their money. Sure. Yeah.
For personal use, the money.
Yeah, he's allowed to have it. Yeah, that's right. Again, because Bezdin had the power to transfer. They had Hefker Bezdin Hefker. They could transfer the ownership of the money.
But he gave it to him. Why is the question?
He didn't do his job.
He told him he saw the moon. It was like a cap. It was like a deer's horn, and
he exposed their plan. Yeah.
But he still told him he saw it.
Yeah, normally. Okay, so Ba'isa Shah at that time.
It's an interesting.
Yeah, content. Yeah, sure.
If you were hired an assassin to do his job, you have to refund the money.
Yeah. Ba'isa Shah at that time, Hiskinu Shalayim Mekablan Element Amakirin. That's when the Chachamim decided that they should only accept edus from those who they recognize. In the beginning, they used to wave the flags. They used to wave torches. We'll see as we go through this Mishnah and the Gemara that what they did was they went up on top of the mountains and they waved the torch, and until they saw that the people on the next mountain were waving the torch, etc., until the people outside of Eretz Yisrael, people in Bavel, were all waving the torches, so they got the message. But they did this only until Mishakilkalu HaKusim. Then when these Kusim got involved and they started messing around, doing tricks. Hiskinu sheyushluchin yaitzin. That's when they started the messengers to go out as a messenger of Bezdin. Keitzad hayu masiyin masuos. How did they used to do this process of waving the torches? Meviin kleintzais shel erez. They used to bring tall pieces of cedar wood. Aruchin, tall pieces of cedar wood. The kanim ve'atzei shemen v'neuros shel pishtan. They used to bring like twigs and reeds and flax, like flammable things. Atzei shemen is like, all these things are like easy to light. The koyrech b'meshicha, and they tied it with a string on the top of this pole. V'oila l'reish hahar, and they went up to the top of the mountain. Umatzis bohen es ha'or, and they lit it on fire. Umoilech umevi umayla umeirid. They used to wave it back and forth and up and down. And the reason why they did this was so that people that see from far away shouldn't think it's like a star or something in the sky. They should be able to realize that it's a torch, it's a fire, and they used to move it back and forth and up and down. Until they saw that their friend on the next mountain was doing the same thing. Where am I? On the second mountain. And then they did the same process until they saw it on the third mountain, etc. Where did they do it? Where did they start? They started from Harazesim. Which is the mountain, like we know, right outside the old city, right outside Yerushalayim. Mehar Mishcha l'Sartava, and then the second mountain was Sartava. Umi Sartava l'Grufina, Umi Grufina l'Chavron, Umi Chavron l'Beis Biltin, Umi Beis Biltin l'Zazu. Beis Biltin was the farthest that they went, the last mountain inside Eretz Yisrael that they waved the torches on. They stayed there. Misham l'Zazu Misham, they didn't move from there. Ela Malchu Mevi Umaylo Meir, they did back and forth and up and down. Achi Roya Kol Hagoyde l'Fanav K'Maduras Eish, until that they saw that the whole diaspora, the whole we say over here that it was Pumbedisa, which is the city closest to Eretz Yisrael, that the whole place looked like it was on fire because everybody went up to their roofs, every individual, and they lit their own little torch. And so, if you look from far, it just looked like the whole place was lit up, on fire. Zok Gemara, my mashma de Messian lishna di yikud. How do we know that Messian Masuais means that they lit up, that they lit it on fire? Where do we see a reference to that or a source to that in the Torah? The Ksiv, it says in the pasuk, "Vayisaim David va'anashav." They said "Vayisaim David va'anashav," which could mean that they carried. But Matargumina, the Targum translates it as "Ve'ukdinon David." He lit. Tan Rabbanan, Ein Masiin Masuais Elo al Hachaydesh Shenira Bizmanei. They only went out and waved these torches if it was a month which was the new moon was seen on time. In other words, after 29 days. So it was seen sometime in the 30th day. Only then did they do this system of waving the torches. We'll see in a second why. The Emasai Masin, and when did they wave these torches? Le'or Iburai, the night where they would have extended the month. In other words, funny way of saying it, but the night after day 30. So if the new moon was sighted on day 30, they announced it to be Rosh Chodesh, and then these people from Bezdin went out and waved the torches that night to know that yesterday, today, or the day before now was Rosh Chodesh, and not tomorrow. Okay, it had to be done at night, otherwise you can't see the torch, right?
That falls out on the Shabbos.
Good question. Let's get there. The Amos I have seen L'Or Iburai. So the eve after Rosh Chodesh. Lamemro de Achaser Avdinon Amale Lo Avdinon. So you're saying that on a Chaser, a 29-day month, in other words, that you see the new moon on the 30th day, then you do the system. But on a 30-day month, in other words, for Rosh Chodesh to be on the 31st day, then you don't do it. Lo Avdinon. My time. What's the reason for this? Amar Rav Zera says Gzeira Mishum Rosh Chodesh Chaser Shechal Yos Be'erev Shabbos. The reason why I don't wave for any month, if we were to wave these torches, if we were to do the torches for every month, whether it's a 29-day month or a 30-day month, so what's going to happen is, one month is going to come out, a 29-day month, and Rosh Chodesh comes out to be on Shabbos. The 29th day of the month is Friday, and the 30th day is Shabbos. Right? So, Rosh Chodesh Chaser, Shechal Yos Be'erev Shabbos. Did I say it right? No. The 30th day is on Friday. Okay? So now, Rosh Chodesh Chaser, right. That's right. So Rosh Chodesh is on Friday. So normally they would do it the night after Rosh Chodesh, which would be Friday night. Obviously they can't do it on Shabbos. So what do? Emas Avdi. So what should they do? Ba'afuke Shabsa. If they would do it on Matzah Shabbos, wave the torches. So then, what does the Bach say here? Ba'afuke Shabsa, V'i Amrit, instead of Di'i Amrit. V'i Amrit Navid Nami Amale. Now, if I say, so according to the process that we have, if they wave it on Matzah Shabbos, if they can't wave it on Friday night, they wave it on Matzah Shabbos. Now, if we wave it every month, whether it's a Male or a Chaser, 29 or 30-day month, the people are going to make a mistake. Amri Hai Chaseru, they'll think this month is really a 29-day month, maybe. The reason why they didn't do it yesterday, because it was Shabbos. Or maybe, Mali. It was really a full month, 30-day month. Who was Mana, and now we see the torches. It's the right time. How are they going to know which one it was? By them seeing it on Matzah Shabbos, which is the night after day 30, instead of the night after day 29. No, the night after day 31 instead of the night after day 30. Right? So the Gemara says, okay, so that's why I can't do it every month, Mali and Chaser. I only do it on Chaser. Let's do it both. So why don't this? Let's put this into place that every month we should wave the torches on the right night to tell us when Rosh Chodesh is, or the night after Rosh Chodesh to tell us when it was. Now, if it comes out to be Friday night, the night that you should have waved the flag, waved the torches, then don't do it at all. Don't do it on Matzah Shabbos, and people will know that it must be, it's not a full month, because if it was a full month, we would see the torches. And the reason why we don't see any torches this month, because it was Friday night, and we couldn't do it. Very simple procedure. The Gemara says, no, we can't do that either. Let me just read this. And normally they do wave the torches on a full month. People will know that it's a shorter month, a 29-day month. And the reason why they couldn't do it is because it was Friday night, it was Shabbos. So no, they can still make a mistake. Why? They'll think really this is a complete month, a full month, which with 30 days. And the reason why we don't see any torches today is because isnusi hu the isnusei. Is because the people on Shabbos like to have a l'chaim, like we know, right, Mendel? We have a l'chaim on Shabbos. So and they had what? and they have like some hangover or whatever, and that's what happened. They had an einus. They didn't do it because they drank too much, which is I guess was a common thing. Matzah Shabbos people weren't able to get out. So the Gemara says, okay, so another eitzah maybe Avid. Amale v'loy le'avid achaser. Let's do it only on Amale and not on a chaser. Le'avid achaser klal. It could work that way also. Amar Abaya mishum bitul malacha la'am shnei yamim. They used to not do any malacha on Rosh Chodesh, and or maybe this is referring to Rosh HaShana. What is bitul malacha? Rosh HaShana, yeah. If you don't know when it is, you're gonna keep 2 days until you find out that it's the second day. Why should everybody have to keep the first day, which might be Rosh Chodesh, until the second day, which turns out to be Rosh Chodesh? If you only wave the torches on the 30th day, you'll never know when a short month was until you see it waved, or you have to wait till after the second day to see if there's a torch or not. If there's no torch, then it was a shorter month. If there is a torch, then it's a longer month. But you don't know till after both days. So therefore, it's not a good system. Have a good day. Have a good Shabbos.